What's up, kings and queens? It's your girl, Kayla DeReese, and welcome to my channel. If you have not done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you're alerted every single time I upload a video. All right, today's video is going to be about my single journey and how the past 4.5-ish, almost 5 years of being single has gone for me. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so this video is kind of going to be broken up into 3 different sections, yeah? And below in my description box, I'm going to actually post like the timestamps for that. So this first section, I want to discuss heartbreak, the very beginning stage of the whole single life, yeah? So back in 2015, the very end of 2015, it was October, I believe. I went through a bad breakup, and I will say this: my relationship was not like horrible. It was not that bad, honestly. We had a good relationship. We were actually really good friends, but the actual breakup was horrible. And it was heartbreaking for the both of us. It wasn't something that was like, oh, this person is mad, but this person is fine. It was a mutual heartbreak. So it was just very disturbing all the way around. And with that particular individual, I wouldn't say we're still friends. We're not friends, but we're cordial. We're, associates. I don't talk to them. However, if I see them, it's not going to be like we're not on bad terms. There's no bad blood there. I don't harbor any bad feelings. So even though it was a bad situation, it wasn't all bad, all the way around. So we just were not supposed to be together. And there was, a situation that happened that kind of forced us to be apart. All right. So in the beginning of my single life, I went from this like devastation to realizing that I had to heal. Like, I'm not the type of person that can go through stuff and just like let it linger. I'm like, okay, Kayla, you got to get yourself together. What's next? And not necessarily to disregard what I felt. I didn't want to disregard what I felt, but I just didn't want to dwell so much on the negative that I couldn't look past, that situation to move on. And so I ended up just realizing, I didn't want to jump right back into another relationship. And if that meant I couldn't have friends because I didn't want to get attached to anybody that could, potentially become a relationship, then that's just what it needs to be. I wanted to use that time to focus on myself. And that's what I did. I started out in this whole single journey, just trying to find out who I was, and I don't want to say I isolated myself, because I feel like there's such a negative connotation on the word isolation, but I did distance myself socially, and it was intentional. It wasn't like I was just, depressed or I didn't want to be around people. I was like, no, I'm just chilling. I just want to be low key. And that's kind of how I already was. I'm just that type of person anyway. But in this time, I specifically wanted to just be by myself and have some alone time and work on myself internally before I'm out, and in public and socializing and all that good stuff. And it worked for me. I will say not everybody should do that, just because sometimes with different personalities, if you isolate yourself, then that isolation turns quickly into depression. And that's something that you have to tackle immediately, or it can get dangerous. But just for my personality type, I was okay with kind of distancing myself. So I wouldn't recommend it, just because depending on who you are, you might not be able to handle isolation. But if when people know themselves, they know how much distancing they can, handle. But anyway, I distanced myself and just started working on me. What do I like? what do I like about myself? What do I not like about myself? What can I change that I don't like about myself? And I'm not talking about anything that's like, superficial or like things that really don't matter. I'm talking about things that were connected to my self-worth. Things that would ultimately hold me back. Not necessarily anything that has to do with how other people view me, because that matters none to me. I honestly only care about the way I view myself. So then in this time, I decided to like really put myself under a microscope and decide like, okay, Kayla, this part of you is really ugly. How can you fix that? You can't move on and move forward and try and love again if this part of you is ugly. Because, that could be one of the reasons that, something doesn't work out with someone else, So I ended up like figuring out what I don't like about myself or didn't like about myself, the things that I absolutely loved about myself, and trying to balance that out. I think it's important for everybody at some point in their life to do a little self-check. I'm not a very nice person, or I am a very nice person. I'm not saying that about myself. I'm just using that example. To be honest, I think I'm very nice-ish. I'm nice when I need to be. Or should I say I'm real. I'm just going to say that. You don't have to be nice to everybody, and I don't want everyone to assume that. I think growing up, it was like, oh, be nice. But everybody doesn't deserve your niceness, or your kindness. Well, kindness, yes. Niceness, no. To me, there's a difference. So just my recommendation in this healing process is just to make sure that you're focusing on you and ultimately trying to be a better person. Not to say that you were a bad person, but everybody could always be better. And that's what I did. And I'm not saying everything that I did is right or whatever. This is just my personal experience. But I do think that it was beneficial to who I'm becoming and my next relationship. I'm not in a relationship now. But I do think that whenever I am in a relationship, my significant other will appreciate the time that I actually took out to be with myself and get to know myself and get to love myself. Because if you can't love yourself, you really cannot love anybody else. And if you can't love yourself, then you can't even learn how to accept love from anyone else. So I think that that's really important. And I think that it's one thing that we overlook a lot in relationships. Oh, we want someone to love us so much. We want this from them. We want that from them. But we don't really try and do those things for ourselves. So in this next go around, whenever I am in a relationship, I'm not going to say it's tomorrow. May not even be in 2020, but we shall see. I just know that the Kayla going into this next relationship is much more mature and much better than the Kayla that went into the last relationship she was in. All right, so the last little segment of my single journey that I want to touch on, after I came out of this whole healing process, because I will say breakups suck. They suck. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that at all. And it's not something that you can just bounce back from immediately. It takes time, and however much time that is for you, that's just what it is. You don't have to feel like you have to rush through it. You don't have to feel like you have to drag it out just to please other people. It's up to you, and it's up to each individual how long that takes. However, once you get through that healing phase, sis, queen, king, it is time to thrive. And that is the stage that I feel like I'm in now, where I've figured out the things that I want to do. Still figuring out some things, because honestly, I have so many dreams. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out, what's the most important? What do I want to work on now? But figuring out the things that you want to do and just going after it. Be a goal getter, not gold digger, or not, go getter too, but be a goal getter. And making sure that once you set a plan for yourself or set a goal for yourself, that you're actually figuring out ways to implement those goals. Like, put those things in place, go after all of that. Like, nothing's stopping you. And I don't care, like, you can be 16, you can be 21, you can be 50 years old, whatever that means is just what that means. You feel me? Like, you have to make sure that these heartbreaks and these breakups and all of this stuff that does suck does not stop you, you know? Like, it's so easy to let things like this, like, get us so down and depressed, and it's so easy for it to just kind of knock us out of the game. But no, we still got one more swing. Get up to the bat and hit a home run. Like, after it, I feel like everybody has potential to thrive. You just have to want it, and you can't allow, you know, past relationships and all of those kind of things to shake you so much so that it throws you off track, you know? Yes, it's okay to take the time that you need to heal, to mend yourself, to mend your heart, from however you felt leaving that relationship. But you gotta move on. Like, I don't want to sound insensitive because I know how it is. I just want to stress the fact that it's so important to refocus your energy and make sure that you're out here living and not just existing. Like, you have to live. Time, you don't get that back. Like, you cannot get time back. So that all those hours that you spend, you know, frustrated or crying because, you know, the relationship didn't work out the way you wanted to, it's not going to change the situation, and it's also going to be time that you won't get back. Use that energy, sis. Use that energy, bro. Refocus that energy on something positive that's going to push you forward in your life, you know? If you have ever experienced any bad breakups, but you know what? Honestly, no. Like, I want to hear from everybody. Comment below any of your past relationship experience where you've had bad breakups, but you bounced back, or maybe you realize, like, oh, this breakup knocked me out of the game for a while. I want to hear everybody's experience. So comment below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I will greatly appreciate that. And until next time,